Good afternoon everyone and welcome back to the channel. So it's going to be another installment today of the trials bike build, the GasGas Pro. As you can see in front of me here is the yoke, steering yoke or triple clamp, whatever you want to call it. I think that's an American term, that isn't it? Triple clamp. I don't really know, I know I've said it. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if you Americans say that, yeah, great. Triple clamp, yoke, whatever you want to call it. And the grease has come. Now admittedly I did expect this to be slightly bigger than it is. It's a bit small. My fault, it does say 30 grams on there, but oh well. But there should be enough in there to do the job because it's only 2 bearings that I'm greasing up. If not, I'll have to get some more. But oh well, as noted, waterproof. It does have to be waterproof. I don't really... I get your grease should be waterproof anyway, but I think if you're using the standard grease and there's a lot of moisture in the air, going through puddles, a lot of water and stuff like that, moisture can get in between, and when it's spinning, of course this is only it's not going to be doing too much, but it can cause problems. It breaks down the grease and that's when you can start getting issues, so it's always best to get a waterproof grease to eliminate that from happening. So all we're going to do is just build this up as best as possible. So I'm going to first grease this one. This is the one that's on the bottom, the main one. Now this is actually fixed in place. It's pressed in place. You can get them off and it's relatively easy to put them back on, but they are pressed, they're fixed. Whereas this one just sits, when it's all together, just simply sits on top. So doing this one is a little bit more tricky. But all we're going to do is we're going to feed the grease into the gaps as best as possible, on the top there, all the way around and in there as best as possible, so it's got a nice coverage of grease. But with this one, a lot easier. I'll just put sort of a blob in the hand there, and on the back side of it with a wider diameter, just a simple case of pushing and squeezing in the grease all into the sides there, all into the rollers until it starts popping out the top, and that's sufficient enough. And then of course on the frame itself, around the top, but we'll get to that. We'll get that one greased up first, and then we can get the frame and start assembling it. So we'll start with that and we'll see how it goes, but it's pretty decent, this one anyway. It's all cleaned up, all nice. So I don't know how I'm going to do this one. I'll be honest, I've not done this before. I've not done this. I've stripped them down, these yokes, and taken forks out and stuff, but I've never cleaned and re-greased or even fitted new bearings onto here. So be interesting to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm just going to simply force it in there as best as I possibly can, and see where we're at with it really. But it's a bit of a messy job. I mean, you can use gloves for this. It does make it a little bit easier, but you just really want to get around the edges and compress. But when I say greasing bearings, I have greased bearings before, but just never yoke bearings or steering head bearings, you want to call them. But like I say, you see, I'm just forcing it in, pushing it down and into the gaps. Sorry, a bit close from the far away from the camera. I'm really getting it in there and hoping it stays in. You get a good seal around there. Here we are. I'll get this done properly, and I'll cut back to it because it will take a bit of time to get it done properly. Right, so I've got that in as best as I can. I've squeezed it all the way in. It has started seeping out the bottom, so it's under the rollers there. I don't know how much grease is too much grease, but you know, a good amount of grease, and that will be absolutely fine. You can spin it around and you can feel it smooth, it's nice, so I'm quite happy with that. You know, not being wheel bearings, they're not under immense stress as in a wheel bearing, but it's to get a good amount of grease on and make it nice and smooth. It's never nice when you're doing your handlebars that you can feel it rumbling, you can feel there's a grit or some crap in there, and it's not greased up properly. So I want it to be as nice and smooth as possible. So I'm going to get some tissue, get that other one done, lay that out, so get this one greased up, and then I'll get the frame in, and we'll start putting it together, that under the frame, get it all assembled up, and hopefully it's nice and smooth, but we'll see. Right, so with this one, like I say, this is the best way, just getting a blob like that on your hand, and like I say, just feeding it in as best as possible as you push it down, bringing it away, pushing it in, bringing it back, and you can see it sort of scooping it inside. You just want to work all the way around, and yeah, I can actually feel it. In fact, as you're pushing it down, you can sort of feel the grease going into the rollers, and you just want to bring it round, keep on doing it, and in the end you'll start seeing it come out the top, and it's already doing it. I can already see it now coming out the top of the coming out the top of the rollers. But that's at that point you know it's sufficiently greased. It is quite messy doing it like this. There are tools out there that make it easier, less messy, let's say, but this is more than adequate enough doing it this way. So I will get that done, cut away, make sure it's alright, and then we'll get back and we'll carry on. Right, so that is very nicely greased up, and actually I don't know if you can see, but it is starting to seep out the top there as I'm forcing it in the bottom. I've spun it around, it is very nice and smooth, and that is very sufficiently greased. I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to very carefully, in fact I'll lay that on here, upside down like that. And I'm going to get the frame, clean my hands up, get the frame, and we'll start assembling it slowly, bit by bit, and then we can see what it looks like. But yeah, no, good grease. Just make sure it's all in there, all nicely done, because you don't want it once it's on, once it's all built together. You don't want it to be all sort of rumbly and grinding, because that's not ideal at all. And my camera's doing something. I don't know what it's doing, what is happening. No, I don't know. It's fine. So yeah, but yeah, I'll cut it there, get the frame, and then we will carry on with that. Okay. Now that's all done. Yeah, good luck getting that grease off your hands. Remember, it is waterproof. It's a pain in the butt. You need a good cleaner to get that off. But yeah, it comes off in the end. But yeah, completely forgot about that. Oh well. Right, so got the frame. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to just adjust the camera so we can see. There we go. Okay, firstly, what we want to be doing, oh of course actually, before anything, do you want to check the smooth parts in here, top and bottom, where the bearings will sit and spin. They are very, very well greased up, but I mean, I would always just put a little dabble in there, just smooth, making sure it's sort of double checking it is all clean, because the last thing you want to do is put anything in there that's covered in what's got stones or sand or anything, because that will not do the bearings very good at all. To reach in there, get in there nice and deep here. There we are, nice and greased. Right. Oh, so my hands are all dirty again now. Lovely stuff. There's a bit of tissue. Wipe that away. Lovely. This is here. Okay. So yeah, as we were. Oh, I'll get the other one. Here we go. So move all the parts into place. Put caps now. There we go. And like that. And like that. Lovely stuff. So. Where's he gone? There he is. Up here, hiding. So basically, yeah, quite simple. From the boring earring up, all the way, and the bearing will sit in very nicely in that tapered seating there. Oh, just the camera, sorry. Can't actually see. Just like that. And then, of course, you get... It's alright, yeah, you get the other bearing. Sitting on there just nicely. And this one being it's not forced in, it's just simply pressed in just like that and sits very nicely. And then the washer sits on top of the bearing I believe. And then, is that right? Yeah, oh goodness me, that's not right. And then just secure it in place like that. It's a very fine thread, so you might be here for a good while. It's on the right way. I might actually check the order I took it off. I think so. I'm sure it is. There we go. So as far as tightening it down, I don't really know any check what sort of torque settings you need, but you know, I mean, always give it a good check. We did spindling like that, and it'll hang about. Obviously, oh no, actually no, that's right, isn't it? Of course it is. So yeah, make sure that is right on there, and then should sit just on top and go into that one like that. But I'll cut away. I'll just double check that I've got that in the right order, because I'll make a fool of myself otherwise if that's wrong. So bear with me and I will check. Yeah, so I'm doubting myself here a little bit, but I noted it down as for some reason it doesn't look right, but it's going in, so it's secure it in place, plastic on top, give it a wiggle, it's rolling quite nicely, and of course the epi yoke on there, and then fix it in place, and of course when the forks are in it'll all line up there nicely. There we are, let's get that in there. This will also tighten it up, tighten it to that there in there. And then that is it. I'm still going to need obviously tools as well to tighten that up, but I'll just get it as finger tight as possible. There we are, let's get it down. But yeah, that's got to be right. I just thought down to myself a little bit there. Obviously correct me if I'm wrong. If you see it and I've done it wrong, you know, please say, and I will certainly adjust it, because it is relatively easy to do. But oh goodness me. Yep, so happy days. So we'll tighten that. That feels lovely and smooth actually, very nice indeed. So when the forks are on, of course they'll line up perfectly and it'll sit there nicely, but for now, yeah, absolutely, that's great. Very successful, very happy with that. Nice and smooth. Once it's tightened up, of course I'm not tightening anything up. Swing arms on, much better. And yeah, so that is that installment done. So we'll do some more, and yeah, it's getting there. Not too, like I say, not too long. I don't know how long it's going to take. It was supposed to be a little bit each month, but it's only been what, a couple of months, if that. And it's already up to this point. So yeah, lovely stuff. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and stay tuned onto the nearly fell over. Stay tuned on the GasGas Pro build, because yeah, lots of more content to come. Thank you very much.